Welcome to Morning Coffee and Mimosas. I'm Christina.
And I'm Joe.
And we are a father-daughter duo. We come here Sunday mornings. You can come here anytime you please. And we banter about life, about business, and we do it over coffee and mimosas. We hope you get some value out of our show today and keep tuning in. Welcome, listeners.
Welcome.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Christina.
So today we are going to talk about a topic that goes off of a previous episode that we shared. It was episode 7, I believe, if my count is right.
I think you're right.
If anybody is interested in checking that out. It was an episode on motivation and how to sustain it. So this week we're going to talk about attitude.
Perfect.
And we've all met somebody that has a stanky attitude.
That is correct.
And I believe there is nothing worse than a bad attitude. How do you feel about that, Dad?
I couldn't agree more.
So as two positive people that like to focus on the bright side of things,
Yep.
we may have a different perspective than others, but I think that this is something that everybody can benefit from because a bad attitude can be a cancer or a horrible thing in an organization. It could be a really negative thing in a family.
Yeah.
In a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as we are all focused on leading more fulfilling and enjoyable and happier lives, if you can identify it, you can remove it. And,
I like that.
Or change it because sometimes they can change. So listeners, I'm going to share something with you guys right now. My dad has done coaching, management coaching, all kinds of stuff in his career. And just today, I've only been in management now in leadership for a little over 3 years, maybe going on 4. And just today, he shared this whole manager's toolkit that he developed years ago with me that has all of these pearls of wisdom. And I'm like, again, Dad, nice to meet you. I know you've got all this wealth of knowledge and information.
You would have thought,
why do you not share with me?
You would have thought I shared it with you when you got the promotions.
Yeah,
and all
congratulations on your promotion. Here's a toolkit that will give you all of the keys to your success. But no, we have to do a podcast so I could discover these things. So thank God for this podcast.
Well, anytime. Sorry.
So Dad, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Okay.
Because you never shared this with me before, we're going to use this episode as an opportunity for you to share your wisdom on what you've learned in managing attitudes in your life, organization, whatever.
Well, every one of you listening, have a positive attitude, period. Start off with that. And that sounds silly, like, duh, yeah, I should have a positive attitude. But I can't have a positive attitude because of, and we all have excuses around why we don't have a positive attitude. But I will tell you this, if you're managing people or if you are being managed and you don't have anybody below you, your attitude is critically important. Your attitude is what happens when people say, I don't know what it is, but I don't like him or her. It's generally around the attitude. And you could say, yeah, no, they're selfish or they're this or that or whatever. But if you have someone working for you or a coworker that
that's
has
what I was going to
attitude,
say. It doesn't have to be a It doesn't have to be a hierarchical. How do you say that word?
Thank God for editing. Maybe we'll leave that one in.
No, it doesn't have to be something that's in a hierarchy.
Correct. No, seriously, it could be your peer. As a peer, you're just a pain in the butt to work with because you have a bad attitude. If other people have to dance around you, and we all know those people. Oh, yeah, Christina, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Oh, wait, but how are we going to handle Paul?
Well,
like
even
that,
people, right, and people in your personal life that you can't be honest with,
Uh-huh.
where you have to like tiptoe and be really careful
Right.
about what you say because you know
Right.
that they'll take it a certain way or they're going to misinterpret the meaning.
Correct.
So it's really challenging to deal with people like that.
Right. So let's start as a manager, and if you have somebody reporting to you.
Okay.
So you brilliantly in our last conversation spoke about how you have your motivations, what motivates you, and then everybody is different, and we have other motivators, they have their own, and that a good leader modifies or adjusts their behavior to match that of the motivation for their employee.
Well, and it's not
right?
matching as much as it's delivering.
Adapting. I'm sorry, adapting.
Adapting
Yeah.
the motivator
Good
to
point.
appeal to whomever it is.
Right.
Is what we talked about in episode 7.
Exactly. And I'll give you an example of a bad attitude is me when mom makes me take a walk. So
That is a bad attitude.
that's a bad attitude. And
this is
I
a positive guy, but he has a bad attitude when it comes to...
I'm telling you, taking a walk, I don't like the beach, so I am a pain in the ass to mom for the entire time.
That is true. My only not fond memories of the beach include you.
No, it's true.
But that's actually a really good example because there is no place that I am happier than at the beach on a nice day.
Right.
And my only negative memories that I have at the beach include you whining about being at the beach.
So great example.
You detracted from my experience at the beach.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot.
Sorry about that. But that is an example, perfect example of what a person with a bad attitude does.
Dad, do you feel bad about how you impacted my childhood in a negative way there?
Not really. You turned out okay.
No empathy.
Not really.
I mean, it's pretty like Hard Knocks, right?
Well,
first world problems. My worst memories are you complaining at the beach that you brought me to and paid for.
But think about this now. This is hard because I'm now being, sliced open and examined. But my attitude caused you issues. Like it dampened your enthusiasm, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You freaking killed my vibe.
Right. But I am not an unenthusiastic person.
No, you were as positive as they come.
Correct. Except I was in a situation in which I'm very unhappy, which
killed your vibe.
Spilled over. Correct. And there are people who are in jobs that they hate going to every day. It's
or they're not suited for.
Or they're not suited for. So it's hard for them to have a really good attitude, right? I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name I always say this, I'm not going to name the company because I'm not going to name the company. But years ago, I did consulting at a client. These were managers. I was doing management training. And this was not part of the training. At a break, they're talking about this woman. Let's call her Susie. And one of the people said, "Oh, I literally was overhearing. We were having like lunch on this break. Oh, she got transferred into my department. Unbelievable." And they're like, "Oh, well, I'm glad I got rid of her. I'm sorry you got her," and so on. The story with this Susie was she was a completely unhappy person.
It's such a happy name.
I know. Well, I gave her Susie. She was an unhappy person.
Susie sounds like she would be like a ray of sunshine.
And not a good employee. Mm-hmm. And this company at the time had pretty much a mindset that if you work there, they don't fire people.
That's a really positive environment.
Well, you would think so.
Just move them around.
But think so. You would think that's positive.
No, I don't.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying it's a nice thought. We generally don't fire people.
But can you imagine if you went to work every day in an environment where you knew, regardless of your actions, regardless of how you show up, you have no possible repercussion of no longer being there?
Well, and what happened was managers would tolerate this person and then plead with HR, and then they'd find a position and say, "Okay, we'll move you to this department." They were moving them. And literally one of the managers said, "I had 10 people in my department. 9 did the work and they all worked around Susie." Right?
Yeah.
My point in saying this is that Susie was very unhappy. If Susie was actually fired like early on, she may have gotten into a company or a job that was more suited to what she wanted.
Right.
But she also had golden handcuffs. Not that she was paid all that much, but every year she even got just a cost of living raise. So it got to a point where Susie wasn't going to leave because
whatever she was motivated by may have been the job and the money. She was motivated to make money and provide. She needed
money, and so she's unhappy and all that. So there's a lot of reasons why people may have a bad attitude. Me, with the beach, I am not an unhappy person, but I was unhappy on the beach.
Yet we still force you to go every year.
I know. I'm unhappy exercise. I don't go to
We've covered that. You don't like exercising.
So I just want to say that the reason I'm bringing that out is a person can have a bad attitude and not be a bad person.
Well, I guess it's that a person can show up with a bad attitude, but not have a bad attitude innately.
Correct.
So you could be a positive person that reacts in a negative way to a situation.
Right.
And the magic here is separating the people who just have a bad attitude and are just kind of a negative person in any situation from the people that are just reacting negatively to the environment that they're in. And then a step further than that would be identifying, can the situation change? And if the situation changes, does the attitude change?
Good.
Am I
Very good?
Ding ding. Was I right?
Ding ding. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a little. I call it.
He's
a decision
got a whole
tree.
chart, guys. He's showing me this chart, and I'm like, Dad, this is gold, and I could have really used this at different times. Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Anytime. Well, now you got it. So this is a decision tree for anybody who manages someone, but you can modify this for any circumstance. And so you could modify it for me going to the beach. You can modify it for anything. So let's say you manage this person and you're having a lot of trouble with the person. First, you're going to look at the performance of the person. Does their performance meet your expectations? Yes or no? If it's yes, then you positively reinforce and you continue to enhance their skills, right? But if that particular performance does not meet your expectations, then that would be a no. Then you have to ask yourself, is the problem significant? And this is another issue. Very often, we pick on people for insignificant things. Let's say with me in the band, I'm playing guitar in the band, and you are the boss of the band, and you have a problem, and it's the way I'm playing something. Is it significant? If you say to yourself, well, it's not really significant. It's a preference that I would rather, but it's not significant. If it's not significant, then you ignore that problem.
Okay.
You can't pick on everything that somebody does, right? If it is significant, is the improvement within that person's control? If it's not within my control to improve it, then you have to remove the obstacles. Okay, so for example, I'm playing the guitar and you don't like the way the guitar sounds. Is it within my control? No, it's not.
Like you have an acoustic guitar and I need an electric.
And you need an electric, right.
So then I need to change the guitar that you're playing with.
And we're making silly, examples, but you can see where this goes. So my office situation, might be the obstacle. It could be any number of things, but you have to look to yourself and say, is the improvement to this reason that I'm annoyed with Joe in Joe's control? If not, you remove the obstacles. If it is in my control, have I ever performed that task before? So you might have been annoyed with my performance, but guess what? I never did it before, right? It's something new. So then if I've never performed it before, then maybe shouldn't you be
We got to teach you how to play the electric guitar.
Yeah, or teach me how to set it up properly, or show me, or get somebody to help me, okay? If I have performed it before, do I have the knowledge and skills to perform up to your expectations as my manager, right? If no, then coach and train me to get me to that level of expertise. So in other words, if we summarize, did it meet your expectations?
Would you like me to summarize?
No, I don't. Not this time. Is it significant? Is the improvement within my control? Have I performed in the past? Do I have the knowledge and skills? If all of those are the right answer, then is my attitude adversely affecting my performance?
So you're ultimately getting to, if the answer to all of that is yes, then it's an attitude problem.
Correct. And if it's an attitude problem in a corporate environment, you should involve HR, because we have to get to the core of why my attitude stinks. So now, Christina, if you'd like to talk about the beach and me at the beach.
We have an attitude problem on our hands.
We have an attitude problem. Houston, we have
Dad,
a problem.
I will tell you the answer was yes to all of the questions.
All right, so
land on the attitude.
Except for the first one, did it meet your expectations?
Oh,
no.
The answer was no.
Was it significant? Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Was the improvement within my control?
Yes.
Yes.
You could have just put a smile on your face for a couple hours.
Have I performed that task before?
You have.
Of course, absolutely.
You do know how to go to the beach.
And do I have the knowledge and skills to perform on the beach?
You do.
Yes, I do.
You weren't actually built with the skin for the beach.
No.
You know, you burn like a lobster, but you do have the aptitude to put on sunscreen, a hat, and sit out there and read a book.
Correct. So was my attitude adversely affecting my performance?
Heck, yes.
Yes. And that would literally be a counseling session. When I say counseling, not with a psychiatrist.
So this actually brings us back to motivation.
Right. Uh-huh.
So what we ended up having to do is motivate you with things that you were happy about at the beach. So, for example, Joe, if we go to the beach, we'll go visit Uncle Jimmy.
Right.
And you get to see your brother.
Correct.
Dad, if we go to the beach, we're going to go get ice cream.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
because what did I like at the beach? I was never happier when we finally got off the beach, came back to the hotel room, took a shower, got dressed, and we were going to go to the boardwalk and have some nice food, you know, the boardwalk type food, not 4-star restaurant food, but the fun food.
Right.
And ice cream and rides and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun.
So you can help to provide the incentives at the end of something that is very unpleasant to help improve the attitude.
Right.
And I think with the right motivation, you've improved your attitude. We've also improved our approach to just leaving you in the hotel room.
I was going to say, you grew up and I didn't have to accompany you
That's true.
To the beach anymore.
It's silly, but that's an example of how you can look at these situations and figure out if it's something that you can coach to improve and address the fact that the attitude is a problem and can we work around it? Can motivation and something that incentivizes you change that? Or do you just need to be removed from the situation? Like we removed you from the beach completely.
Well, and that's where, if you think about this and put this back now to business, the counseling side, counseling, again, as I said, it's not a psychological counseling. It would really be, you as the manager would refer me to HR or so on, but the HR person would try to get to the core, right? In this case, it would be an example of me being in the wrong job.
Right.
Okay. I am not cut out for, nor do I enjoy just sitting on a chair sweating on the beach. And by the way,
if you
listeners,
go back to episode 6, you'll know why, because he has a uniform, which he wears to the beach, and jeans, a button down, and a belt are not beachwear.
Well, I'm going to get off the serious topic here, and I'm going to give another Joeism.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Oh, God. Where are we going now?
The beach is an anachronism. So let me say that. I know I'm going to get
an anachronism?
Yeah. So the word anachronism is something that's out of place, out of time. So if you watch a movie from like a Roman gladiator and there's a wristwatch on his hand, that's the wristwatch would be
so
an
like the
anachronism.
Starbucks cup in the Game of Thrones scene.
Exactly. It does not belong. It's out of place. Before we had air conditioning and refrigerators and all that, in the summer it was very hot.
You're aging yourself again, Dad.
No, I don't remember those days. That's before my time.
Okay.
But think about this.
Are you sure?
Think about this. It was hot, especially if you lived in the city and you're on the 6th floor apartment and it's 90 degrees outside and your apartment's 110 degrees. So you didn't have air conditioning, 100 years ago, no air conditioning. You didn't have a refrigerator. It was an ice box because your great-grandfather was an iceman who delivered ice into these ice boxes.
Yep.
So what did you do? Either you went out into the street and opened the fire hydrant and tried to go in the water there, or you went to the beach, which made sense because you would be on the beach. You could, put a bathing suit on and cool off in the water. We no longer need to do this. Can you imagine
if you were living back then?
Oh, my God. But do you understand that you had no option but to go to the beach for relief?
So are you saying that you do not understand the beach, if not to need relief? So you're saying you don't understand a world with air conditioning, why one would need the beach?
Why should I leave my house, which has very comfortable chairs, couches, stuff like that? I have a refrigerator with anything I possibly want to eat.
You actually don't have anything you possibly want to eat in your refrigerator.
That's a separate story, young lady. It's because my wife is real healthy. And I have an air-conditioned environment in which I am not uncomfortable. Why would I want to make myself uncomfortable? And then I hear, well, if you get hot on the beach, just go in the water. Well, why would I have to be hot on the beach to go in the water?
Dad, part of growth is pushing yourself past your comfort zone
That's into a danger zone for me, not a comfort zone. So I had to explain that. This is what I tell everybody. Now it's now public on a podcast forever, out online forever. That's my analogy for why the beach is stupid. And then people go, "Oh, the ocean
We're
is
gonna
beautiful."
agree to disagree
It's the
here.
same water coming back. The wave comes over and over and over. After a few minutes,
Dad.
aren't you done?
I'm shaking my head here.
Yeah. So
You're such a simpleton.
I know.
Your world is so small.
I forgot about the TV in the house, and you got the Wi-Fi and all the other stuff.
Yeah, he'd rather watch a beach on TV.
No, I wouldn't watch the beach. I don't
No.
have to watch the beach. So anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Dad.
But now if we go back to our topic, that is...
Very thankful I didn't get your mentality on these things.
I know. See, the Apple did nudge itself
Yeah.
a little bit
Thank
further
God.
away. But think about that decision tree in any aspect. If it's a coworker, if it's your child, if it's your father on the beach.
What do? Do you fire your kid?
What? No. I didn't say fires, but you have to
I know, I'm
understand the...
Aren't you happy you never had to deal with a negative attitude from me?
Never. You've been perfect as a child.
Right?
Yeah. She's perfect.
I've just always been such a ray of sunshine.
Yeah. Excuse me while I get up and throw up.
I don't know, maybe from 11 to 17. You were probably calling HR on me.
You would have been in a lot of counseling sessions for those 6 years. Yeah.
I really impacted the culture of the family
that's
negatively
correct.
during
Yeah.
those years.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what you delivered to the beach experience was exactly what I delivered to your Washington, D.C. experience.
That's true.
What he loathes about the beach, I, in my early high school years, hated about history and sightseeing.
Right. Christina really does not like history, or I don't know if
I mean,
you do now,
I enjoy it now
But
in
went,
doses.
when she was younger, the whole family went to Washington, D.C.
Instead of going to the beach,
Right.
mind you.
I was thrilled because that's my type of vacation. Historical places or cities, like cultural stuff, historical things. Anyway, we went to Washington, D.C. I'm thrilled. And I love this. I'm a history buff about the Civil War period. And so I bring the whole family to Ford's Theater, which is where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. And we are literally
this guy was like
sitting...
a pig in shit. He was in love. I've never
Correct.
seen his eyes so lit up with just happiness
Correct.
and pride at all he knows about the situation and the fact that this is where Abraham Lincoln was. And what John Wilkes Booth, what's his name? John?
you have it right.
John Wilkes Booth hopped up on stage and he shot him right there. He's like, right where you're standing. And I'm like, Dad, can we leave?
Exactly. I couldn't believe it. I stared at her. I was like, this isn't a replica. This is it. This is where it happened.
I was like, okay, I get it. Can we go?
Yeah.
The floor's creaky.
Right. She threw the wet blanket on my experience on that trip.
I feel your pain now. I do.
Yeah,
I get what
so
I
is it.
delivered there. I apologize for that.
That's quite right. So that's the point, though. That was an episode where you are a great kid and you were unhappy because you were just bored out of your mind, and that meant nothing to you.
Mm-hmm.
And these are some of the things we may have to, either we have to or we have to help that person uncover why is your attitude bad, because the people aren't bad. It's just the attitude.
Well, and I think it's also a good lesson that we just kind of taught each other through sharing these experiences.
Yes.
And I think it's a lesson in life, in marriage, in friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to do things that you don't love and that you are not 100% happy doing and that don't necessarily fulfill you. But sometimes you make little sacrifices, as long as it's not the majority of your time,
Right.
to make other people happy too. And I think whether that's in work, sometimes you have to just change your attitude and the way that you approach a situation so that you can help a team flourish, help an organization flourish, or help your family.
Right. And yourself.
And friends and yourself.
And yourself at the same time.
Well, and I mean, positive attitude. I think about it like this all the time. You can change the way you look at a situation and completely shift your overall demeanor and perspective. If you dwell on the fact that you're on the beach and all the things you hate about the beach, you're going to just exude complete negativity. But if you focus on the things that you're going to do later, the fact that you're with your family,
Again,
the
that
fact
long
that it's a nice
focus.
day
Right.
and
Correct.
you've got a book that you like that you're reading and you can get ice cream later. Or if I focus on the fact that, okay, well, you're happy and look at how elated you are to be in this environment, this theater, and just put a smile on my face for the hour, 5 hours. It felt like we were there.
Felt like 100 hours to you, right?
But that can just change your own experience too. So being able to change your mindset and focus on positivity is something that I think brings you a long way.
Wonderful.
All right,
This
Dad.
was good.
Any final thoughts?
No, I am now, I'm sure, embarrassed and exposed for the
What do you say we
fool
go
that
to the
I am.
beach?
No, let's end this now while we can.
It's a beautiful day. Let's go take a walk, Dad.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Go out and put a smile on someone else's face and turn your attitude up a little bit this afternoon.
There you go. Thank you. Wherever you are, whatever your story, thanks for spending time with us this morning. Now, go and make a difference in your world.
If this little ditty isn't an attitude enhancer, I don't know what is.
Love it.
It's a happy little tune. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening.